Now that said, let's see what I'm going to get. Sometimes I go a little too far with my examples. Okay, actually that's not too bad. You know, good rule of thumb is 100 or less is not, you know, you can actually go and scan through those, you know, but it's up to you. And once again, you know, now I can save that, set up an alert if I want to. So that's the advanced search. Let me go back to the funding tab now. And I'll just point out that from here you can just click on advanced search, so you can go directly to that advanced search form from the funding tab. Also, you can search by sponsor instead of by text. So if I do that, you know, here I could just type in a sponsor name. You know, Sloan Foundation. You know, so this found all of the sponsors with the word Sloan in them. But another way you can do it is, excuse me, you can browse the list of all sponsors or just the federal government sponsors. Non-US federal means other national governments besides the US. So let's say, you know, I want to see US federal. And basically it'll just pull up an index, and you can either search a particular sponsor name or browse the alphabetical index. So, you know, NEA, for example, there's a few different NEAs, but so there's National Education Association, I think. Where's the... Yeah, there's the NEA I'm looking for. And this would just list everything from that sponsor. Now you could go out to the sponsor's website in many cases and find them there. Some sponsor websites are easier to use than others. But you know, one nice thing about Pivot is it pulls them all together in one searchable index. Okay, so those are the different ways you can search for funding. Let's go look at the home page now, because you had a question about, you know, what do you do with them after they, you know, where do you get to those lists? All that stuff's on the home page. So click on the little house icon. And we'll go over these different things. All right, so when you come to your home page, along the left here is what, you know, you can navigate to these different items. You'll see there's your active list, your tracked list, and then some other things. By default, you land on your tracked list. So it's showing me here, there's 3 items on my tracked list, and they're all listed over here on the right. It just gives the title, deadline. This little envelope icon indicates that that email alert is turned on. So in other words, if it's updated or expires, I get an email that same day. Over here under options are all the different things you can do with these records. So you can share a record right from your tracked list. You can take it off the tracked list. That's what untrack is. Move it to your active list. You can modify tags from here. In this case, add tags. Turn off that email alert. Or this next item here, turn deadline reminder on. If I do that, it's going to email me 2 weeks before the deadline comes up. Hey, that deadline's happening. You know, make sure you do something about this. Basically just to remind you, that's all. Just let you know it's going to expire soon. And if you have that turned on, you get a little stopwatch icon that shows up next to the record. You can also, if you shared it with others, you can see who you shared it with. And then there's that who else is interested. So if anybody else has it on their tracked or active list. If you check off items here, you can, you know, work with multiple items at once, share, export, or untrack. Now I've only got 3 items on the list here, but if I had lots of items, I could filter them by limited submission. Incidentally, if something expires and it's on your tracked list, it doesn't go away. It goes onto this expired area. So it's kind of like your recycle bin for dead opportunities or expired opportunities. Active list is really the same as the tracked list in terms of what you can do. All these different elements, same things with the deadline reminders and such. But I do want to point out, these are showing these records that have some tags on. So you see the tag shows up right below the title of the record, and you can also filter by your tags in that left-hand column. So that's active and tracked. There's also saved searches. So these are my saved search strategies. And basically you'll get the name of the search, and then in this column here it'll say new results for, and this is always going to be last Sunday basically, and it's telling me in this case that for this search there's 24 new or updated records, 2 of which have limited submission requirements. This column here, the envelope tells me the email alerting is turned on for this, so that's that weekly email that goes out on Sunday. If you click on the search, it actually gives you that list. And so you can view, this is just what's new that week, or I can see all results from that search, not just what's new. Incidentally, the links to these searches, these are hyperlinks that you can copy and you can paste them elsewhere. So you can create canned searches and share them. Basically, you can put them up on a website. So you could say all arts and humanities records or all limited submission records or something like that, and actually, put those up on a website. Also, if you go under options here, you can share searches too, not just the records, but the search strategies themselves. So if you want to share a search with somebody, say, okay, here's a good strategy. And this is especially helpful if you're assisting someone else with their research, or perhaps you have a grad student doing some work for you. They can share, come up with a search, do that, set up the strategy, share it with you. One thing I'll point out, if alerting is turned on for a search and you share it with somebody else, it's also going to turn on alerts for that search for that person. So if you know that person doesn't like unexpected emails, maybe talk to them before you do that, or turn off the alerting before you share it. So you can share searches, not just records. You can edit the search, of course. You can also tag searches if you want. Look at past week's results, turn off the alerting, or delete the search. Next on the home page, there's the shared and received. Shared would indicate these are items that I've shared with others in the last 60 days. And basically I can see the names of the awards, the deadlines. I can see who I shared it with. I can also see if they've done anything with those records in Pivot. So you see these columns here, the little flag icon. This tells me I shared this record with Patrick Coburn, and he put it on his tracked list, or active list, or dismissed and removed it. And this one I shared with 3 people, and so I can see if they've taken any action on it in Pivot. The other side of that is received. So in other words, received is when others have shared with me, and I can take a look at it. Here's one that Patrick shared with me, and then I can say, okay, I'll track this, or set it to active, or no, I'm not interested, I'm going to dismiss it. Next is the advisor. So this is, I talked about this, it's that matching function. So this is where, like we saw how it would match, it would suggest potential collaborators or for a specific funding opportunity. This is the other way around. This is saying, in this case, I'm logged in as Kathleen Farkas. Kathleen has a profile that explains her research interests. Pivot uses an algorithm to then, do a search basically in the funding database to say, well, there's X number of opportunities that you might be interested in. And so it's pulling up 262 records. Now bear in mind, it's just an algorithm. It's not a mind reader. It's really meant to kind of give you an idea. So if you have a profile, it can give you these matches and say, here's some opportunities out there you might not know about. It doesn't necessarily mean it knows that you want to apply for this or that you're even totally eligible for it, you know, because it doesn't know necessarily I'm doing research in, you know, Latin America right now, or I'm doing research here in California. So it's really trying to throw out, you know, a sort of a wide net. Now that said, this is something we just released today, is you can filter those opportunities. Actually, it is right now, it is showing, because Kathleen is at Case Western, it is showing activity location US. But then, you know, remember those facets from the list of search results. Same kind of thing here. You know, just show me, you know, for my matches, just show me the research items, or just show me, you know, keyword HIV or something. So you can narrow down those advisor matches. Now, in order to get those advisor matches, you have to claim your profile. I'm going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Basically, it's just a way to link up your user account to your profile. And that way, that's how it can make those suggestions. I'll talk about that. I'll explain that further.